Instagram thinking of launching Instagram for kids.
Yeah.
So they were having like a discussion on, well, first of all, the ethics and if it's something that is really needed, first of all. So
excellent.
it's quite interesting. I didn't know about it, so I just learned it.
Yeah, that's where I got the quiz from. Did you see the logo quiz today?
Yeah, from him?
Yeah, Matt Navarro.
No, I didn't, no. He tweets so much, to be honest.
I know. He is a team, obviously.
Yeah, I imagined.
So, are you on Zoom, Mr. Giordano?
Not yet.
So we are actually going live on YouTube right now. On the Finn Wycherley one as well. Oh my God, it's actually happening. Oh, it's weird. It's mirror effect. Like I'm on the left-hand side and my shelves are on the right when it's on Zoom, on YouTube. If you look in the Finn Wycherley YouTube, ooh, I'm getting dizzy looking at it.
So many softwares. I'm not on the Zoom. I mean, I'm on the Zoom call. I think I'm just waiting for the
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. 5. Yes, admit now. Okay, perfecto. So we are officially going live on Clubhouse and on Zoom and on YouTube Live. Yay! One step forward for mankind. Lord. And so we discovered that if we're getting too much kind of feedback between the devices, then just turn down the volume on your laptop. What are you laughing at? What have I said?
No, it's just like the whole situation is like I can see myself like 3 times everywhere. So funny.
Oops. Okay. All right. So when we're talking about this, shall I bring up the things that we're talking about on YouTube? Or does somebody else want to do that? Yeah, me. Okay, fine. All right, let me get my bits together then. So we need all bar 1. And then we need Boda bar. Okay. Where's Emily gone? She's run away. All right, let's get started. So, cut. Let's go. Welcome. This is Finn Wycherley of Supersize Media. We're here on Clubhouse and on YouTube Live, talking to you today about all things that you need to be thinking about if you're a hospitality business. If you're in the hospitality sector, do you have a cafe? Do you have a restaurant? Do you have a pub? Do you have a bar? Do you have any of these kind of places in the hospitality sector? What do you need to be thinking about when you are starting to come out of lockdown? What are you doing as we're easing restrictions? Are you going to actually wait until the moment when the shop opens, the premises opens? Or are you actually going to start warming up your audience now, for example, on social media and building a lovely buzz to get them excited and running through the door as soon as you open? So today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know about hospitality businesses with particular reference to the fantastic All Bar One, which is a national organization operating throughout the United Kingdom. And we're going to be having a look at their website. We're going to look at their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, all of that, and have a discussion with my team here on all the things that they're doing brilliantly, as well as all the things that they could be doing better. And hopefully we won't find any flaws whatsoever or any opportunities for them to improve. But on the other hand, from an egotistical perspective, we do hope we find some flaws, because obviously that will demonstrate how brilliant we are at observing the ways that even large organizations can improve. So we generally tend to work with small to medium-sized businesses, everybody from hospitality to charities and high-end jewelers, high-end maternity, everything in between, where we do social media training and social media assistance to make sure you're making the most of your time as a small business. So the other company that we're going to be talking about today, not just the big, large multinational, All Bar One, is a local company called Boda Bars. So Boda Bars is run here in Edinburgh. There are 7 outlets, and it's run by a fantastic Edinburgh businesswoman named Anna Lagerquist Christofferson. And she's been in business for the last 10, 15 years or so, and she's become a real superstar in the business community, and particularly in the hospitality community. So she's asked us even to have a look at what's happening with her Boda Bars, all her outlets. That includes Joseph Pierce and Akfa and all of the rest of them, which are just being brought under one umbrella now called Boda Bar. So we'll be looking at what local businesses can be doing, as well as multinational businesses can be doing in the hospitality sector. All right, so now let me introduce my team. I'll get them to step forward one by one, and they can tell us a couple of seconds about who they are and what their particular passion is. I'm just putting on the spot right now. So let's go straight to Amy.
Hello, my name's Amy, and I'm currently in Finn's team at Supersize Media. I'm also on the team at Amazing.Scot, which is a Scottish retail platform. It's a startup company and it's only a couple months old. And I'm also a business studies student at Edinburgh Napier. I'm originally from Drumnadrochit in the Highlands of Scotland. And my number one passion, I would say, is probably anything food related. And I've got an Instagram food account where I often blog about what I've been making or cooking.
Awesome. Okay, over to Petra.
Hello. So my name is Petra. I'm from Czech Republic, and I'm also in Finn's Supersize Media team. I'm in my 3rd year at Napier University, and I also love cooking, baking, and especially eating. So that's me.
Perfect. Emily?
Hi everybody, you currently
will find me on the floor of my bedroom because I couldn't get any signal anywhere else. So thank goodness it looked pretty decent, and you're balanced on a £500 shoebox, which is just, so at least it's a bougie shoebox rather than just a normal one. But I'm also in my Napier as well as working with Finn, although I do marketing and digital media because I don't understand anything about business unless it's super creative, and that's sort of my thing in general. I'm a writer outside of working for Finn, and I
I just love doing anything technical or anything on social media that can help me think outside the box and bring businesses to a sort of cool and creative level.
Awesome. And then finally, Mr. Alberto.
Hello everyone, Alberto here. I'm originally from Italy and I'm studying the same course as Emily, marketing with digital media, third year. And I'm quite interested in design, photography, but food as well. And I'm also a big fan of Japan and its culture. And I basically enjoy the outdoors as much as I can, especially in these past few days. And I'm really looking forward to start a career in marketing. So, lovely to meet you all.
Perfect. Okay, so let's get cracking then. Let's turn our attention now to all bar one and see what we have to see on the issue. So all bar one, as everybody knows, is a fantastic UK company, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It services all kinds of bar food and bar activities to people, and it would tend to be a kind of more upmarket experience. You will normally find it at the bougie end of the high street, and they sell all the kind of great food and drink experience that people are lusting after, particularly during a lockdown. So, has anybody got some insight on how they think the actual website is operating? Whether they think it's a great website or a rubbish out website or something in between?
Should I go?
Go for it.
Well, I think the website looks pretty good in terms of like design. Everything is where it's supposed to be. I like how they highlighted the top right the test and trace. And I think it's a very important thing for customers now to build that level of trust, not just in the kind of food and drinks that they're going to be served, but also the safety in place if they follow the government regulations and all those things. So very good for that. And also they have the your safety section. And together with like other competitors that they have this app section, which is something that pubs, restaurants have adopted in the past few months to reduce contact. So it's good that they have an app. The visual as well looks really good, and the section as well to teach people how to use the app is great because not everyone is familiar with it, especially because you could have like different apps from like different places. So it's good to have a guide for people. Yes, I think it's a pretty good website. The only thing that I would suggest is just to have the social media links at the top, because if you actually want to access their social media accounts, you have to scroll down to the bottom. But that seems to be something quite common with website designs these days. So it's just a different approach.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Alberto. Anybody else got any kind of commentary on the website itself, but the website experience? Because obviously, when it comes to the website, it's basically your online representation of the brand. All small businesses need to think about the fact that whatever kind of experience people have in the physical world, they kind of expect to have the similar type of experience in the online world. So if you want to look at something like All Bar One or Cafe Nero, for example, then you would expect to see the same kind of fonts, the same kind of lettering, the same kind of colors, the same kind of brand experience. So if it's a cheap and cheerful type of brand out there in the physical world, you would want to make sure it represents exactly the same kind of authority feel in the digital world. Anybody else got some insights or thoughts on what's happening with the website?
I think it's fantastic that they've promoted the app on their website. I definitely be encouraged to download that and use that over their website because I know that it was going to be fully optimised. I also think it's a great point from a marketing perspective to have, because having that on my phone every time that I open my phone would just remind me of the brand as well.
We're getting quite a bit of feedback there. That's a really good point. Has anybody else got some ideas on the difference between apps for restaurants and websites then? If you, or maybe Amy, if you want to come back on how much of a difference it would make to a business to actually have an app as opposed to just a website.
I think I'd personally feel a lot more loyal to the brand if I had an app. And I think it would show that the brand has taken into account the customer, the user, and also the whole experience. And that's not just going into the restaurant or the food, it's also it creates that sort of connection. Like you might be able to go onto an app and see what's new on their menu. And that's without even following them on social media.
Great, that's a good explanation. Does anybody else actually have any other apps on their phone that are to do with any kind of hospitality business, any restaurant or bar or anything like that on their phones? Emily?
Well, I actually downloaded one this week. I downloaded the SWG3 app, which is like a bar sort of performance space in Glasgow, right on the River Clyde. And the reason why I downloaded it is very cleverly. At 6 o'clock, they're going to announce their tables for the beer garden for the month where you can't go inside, and you can only book a table if you've got the app, which is a really good incentive for like all businesses. And another really good incentive which I saw was Cold Townhouse and in Edinburgh and St Luke's in Glasgow are saying we are going to announce when you can book a table, but you're only going to find out and you'll get first dibs if you sign up for the newsletter, which is very clever, because especially like somewhere like Cold Townhouse, which is so popular in Edinburgh, and they've got such a small outdoor space. I think that's definitely going to get people to sign up for them.
Brilliant.
It's really good, and it's good for all small businesses to think about the sort of when you're going to reopen. It's a good way to sort of, everyone's stressing to get a table, so add to that stress and make it good for you and your business. Reel them in.
Exactly, reel them in. Have some kind of incentives to get them all queuing up. Well, obviously you've got to queue with social distancing still anyway, but definitely to get some kind of incentivization process happening. Anybody got any ideas in terms of getting people motivated, signed up, joining the newsletter? Because obviously nowadays, I mean, a lot of businesses make the mistake of saying, okay, sign up for our newsletter, but nobody wants to sign up for another goddamn newsletter anytime soon. Can you imagine anything more boring? So businesses really need to think about it as being, as you've got to offer something really valuable in exchange for their email. So, if you want 10% off your first purchase, or if you want to make sure you get a priority on the waiting list for the tables in the restaurant, all these kinds of things are absolutely essential for making sure that the people are actually going to hand over their emails. And once they hand over their emails, then you've got an opportunity to market to them, not just through the social media, but through the emails as well, which is a very powerful way to communicate with your audience. Any other thoughts on the website or even the app from all bar one before we move on to compare how all bar one is performing on Facebook? And nope, we're all good. Okay, good. All right, so let's move on to Facebook and see how they are doing on Facebook. So what are your thoughts so far? Just feel free to jump in on what your impressions are of All Bar One on Facebook.
Initially, I noticed that they have no current ads, whereas I've noticed with the smaller hospitality businesses, restaurants and cafes, they do have ads.
And what do you attribute that to?
I would say that All Bar One would consider that they are big enough, and they've already got direct connection, already have an audience that will remember them.
Okay, so you're saying that they've never used ads at all on Facebook?
No.
Okay. I thought you were meaning that they have, they're not running them at the moment, which would kind of be understandable given the circumstances. Yeah. So they've never had to use Facebook ads because the idea is that they're already on every single high street across the UK. Everybody knows the name, everybody knows what the brand stands for. So they don't necessarily need to be shouting out about it. Okay, good point. And anything else from anybody on what's happening with Facebook for All Bar One?
Yeah, I think their Facebook, a lot of the time they ask a question. It's quite similar to that Instagram, and other ones will be like, oh, it's cocktail o'clock, what are you drinking? Or what's your favourite food and drink combo? This has been during lockdown. I think they've been really wanting to get some interactive engagement a bit more, which is always good to see. And a competition that they ran recently as well, and I think competitions are very big on Facebook especially, and it's good to see them do that. Although when Amy was talking about the no adverts, the sort of there's a very weird product placement of All Bar One in the UK office, and that's all I think of, like when I hear the name now. And I've in my head I've sort of associated David Brent with All Bar One, and I don't know if that's a positive or negative connotation. And that TV show was so long ago, obviously, because it's on Netflix. I think maybe a lot of people might be a bit like that too.
I didn't realize that they had got a shout out like that. That's a pretty good product placement going on there. Amazing. Anybody else on Facebook?
I just noticed a few things on their Facebook. So first of all was a bit of like inconsistency in the posting schedule. But the content is usually good. They usually have like good quality pictures, which is good. They don't really, also for Instagram, we'll talk about that later, they don't really have a grid design that they use. And in terms of like fonts as well for some of the posts, they don't really seem to use the ones they have on the website, and also the color scheme. So it's just slightly different. But they have a good engagement so far. As Emily was saying, they usually ask questions and they get quite a lot of comments and likes and shares. And their competition, like giveaway posts, are like absolutely popular. And then another thing that I noticed is that they have this reminder through pictures of their target audience, which seems to be millennials women. So that's like throughout the grid, you can see a lot of pictures of women enjoying the bottomless brunches or enjoying cocktails. So I think that's really good for them. It means that they really know who they want to target.
Yeah, and if anybody's been in All Bar One, it generally tends to be quite a mixed group of people, depending on what time of the day or week that you're in there. Sunday afternoons might be an older crowd. Friday evenings definitely a younger crowd as well. But I mean, it's not one of those bars which is exclusively for the under 25s. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's what confused me a bit about the grid, was that I always associated All Bar One with a slightly older.
I did a bit of research on the audience, and what I found is that they went through an agency to sort of have a bit of a rebrand at the end of 2018, and the particular target market was the young millennial women, and that sort of influenced the rise of the use of influencers as well.
Amazing. Emily, you carried on talking there. I could see your mouth moving. But Clubhouse must have cut you off.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? No, I just think, like, I did see about the rebrand and stuff, but like, I'm just thinking like on social media and like people I know that Slug and Lettuce are a lot more popular, and honestly, I think it's because they do these half-price cocktails, and that is what draws a younger crowd in. Like, young people don't have as much money, and if they do have money, they're going to be more economic. So yeah, I think All Bar One in my head is still more associated with a slightly older crowd, a bit like, I would say it's like Witherspoons for like middle class sort of women in their 40s.
Interesting. I wonder if they would agree with that one. Any other comments on their Facebook? Interestingly, I'm just looking at one where they've got a bit of a video or a kind of animated post rather happening, 6 seconds long. And this is the one that seems to have got like the biggest levels of engagement by far compared to anything I've been seeing as I've been scrolling while we've been talking over the last kind of 10 minutes over Facebook. And this post has got 126 emoji reactions to it. And then 156 comments and 29 shares. And it really, really stands out compared to the others, which tend to generate about 15, 20 pieces of reaction. Although winning the Moët Rosé bottle of champagne definitely also made it stand out in the newsfeed. That one got like 401 reactions, 743 comments, and 58 shares. But then if we go to a normal kind of post, then it's going to be generally in the kind of 20s and 30s. So it's good to see that they're using kind of big competitions and incentives to get people involved in creating content and user-generated content as well, taking pictures, as Alberto was saying, of their end users. But those ones tend to not perform as well as the ones which are giving the big incentives, obviously. Even if you've got a beautiful picture of the food and the drinks and the champagne and the cocktails and things like that, that's giving you kind of 6 to 20 type of pieces of engagement. And that's for a super large brand. So I hope that's not disheartening for the smaller companies who are struggling to get more than 6 pieces of engagement on their pieces of content as well. So are there any more comments on Facebook before we move on to Twitter? No, we're all good. Right, let's move on to Twitter. What All Bar One is doing on Twitter. I'm just loading up right now. And we can see they have 9,000 followers. They're talking about enjoying an expertly mixed cocktail. And yeah, so the good thing is that they haven't done what a lot of businesses make the mistake of, which is just creating the content on Instagram and then hoping it arrives nicely on Twitter. It looks like they've actually created it specifically for Twitter experience, which is always very good, because often you can see a lot of brands who post on Twitter and it just feels like, no, they're actually not spending any time on Twitter whatsoever. They're not interested in Twitter audience. They're only interested in the Instagram audience because it feels like an Instagram post type thing. So yeah, we can see that they are at least being sensitive to the Twitter environment, but a lot of the posts are not getting much reaction either. One or two pieces of reaction going on at any one time. Yep, not a lot. Any comments so far on Twitter? Alberto, you're the Twitter guru.
No, I've actually noticed the same thing, that despite having quite a large amount of followers, because there are 9,000 people, which is quite decent, they don't seem to get that level of engagement. So I'm just wondering if the content is just not interesting enough, or maybe like people just scroll by and they don't think of like Boda one as a presence on Twitter that deserve their attention.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be very well that they have decided that Twitter is really not where they're going to spend any of their time. So at least they have decided, okay, we're just going to focus on one or two platforms, and then we will just update from time to time on the other platforms. Because Twitter actually, although it's a fantastic platform, it's a tricky one from a marketing perspective, unless you go all in. Whereas if you go all in the hospitality business on Instagram, you're going to get a lot more kind of reaction. You're going to get a lot more visibility. So Twitter can be a lot more hard work with less returns, particularly for the hospitality industry. But it doesn't mean you ignore it though. So yeah. Okay, so but at least they are trying to do the Twitter thing, and they are creating separate content for Twitter, which is great to see as well. All right, so let's move on to Instagram, we all know and love. All right, any comments on their Instagram for all bar one?
I really like their Instagram, and I was doing a lot of research into other brands, and I think a lot of hospitality brands have quite struggled with coming up with content. Like since the lockdowns, I think it's hard to come up with like engaging posts, and a lot of it's just like, here's loads of posts for products, but I think they've done a good sort of mix between posts of their product and like other engaging content too. And they've got a sort of real community thing, like they do lives, like yoga lives and stuff as well, and I think that's really impressive too.
Yeah, we can see it's the same kind of content that they're posting up there on Facebook, which is fair enough. It looks like it's pretty much exactly the same type of content. And how are they doing on Reels? It looks like they've produced a couple of Reels as well. 2, which have had a lot of engagement and reach as well, as all Reels tend to do as well. So that's another tip to the wise for anybody in the hospitality industry. When you start doing Reels, although they can be really, really tricky to actually work out how to use them from a brand perspective, once you master it, it can reap far, far bigger rewards than anything that you would do within the normal newsfeed. So if with the 2 Reels that All Bar One created, each one got nothing less, oh no, there's 4 of them now. Each one got nothing less than 2,000 views, pieces of engagement on them, whereas the newsfeed posts got 62 likes, 70 likes, 21 likes, 46 likes, 125 likes, 41 likes. So we're nothing near the thousands really on it. So yeah, that's a note to the wise. Using all the latest tools that each platform offers businesses is a very, very smart way to operate, because when you do use their latest tools, you get a massive boost in your algorithm reach and visibility. Any other comments on Instagram?
I noticed that over the sort of festive period around December, the engagement was about 5%, whereas ever since it's dropped to below 1%. So I don't know if that's just been a coincidence with people getting excited over the Christmas sort of time, or I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Mm. I would say it's probably more of a sign of the times. You know, people have been in lockdown for a very long time. Their appetite for social media might, particularly hospitality social media, might not be what it used to be, because nobody wants to be looking at fantastic pictures of people enjoying themselves with cocktails and going out and sitting on the table outdoors and having fun with friends, when they can't actually, everybody's basically locked in and they can't get out anywhere. So I would imagine that's just a reflection of the times. Any other insights as to what's happening with Instagram?
I would just like to recommend them to be a bit more consistent in terms of like font and colors, what the brand actually is. So, for example, the colors and fonts from their website, use them more frequently on Instagram. Not necessarily to build the design grid like some brands do, but just like to be consistent. So, for example, use that gold that they have on their logo. That would be good. Maybe some like black background. Yeah, so it's just my critique.
Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. All right, and I'd also like to commend them on their use of highlights, although there's one or two highlights that could be a bit better branded, as Alberto was saying. But overall, we're looking at the IGTV, which is the IGTV is basically anything more than 60 seconds. A video that's more than 60 seconds is going to be put into the IGTV section. And they seem to have all performed pretty well as well. So commendations on a good Instagram experience as well. Okay, so let's move over to Boda. I mean, I don't think we need to look at LinkedIn or YouTube, or is there anything on any other platform that you'd like to point out in terms of how All Bar One is performing?
It's just an additional point to Instagram that I noticed that they follow quite a lot of vegan food bloggers, but also a number of YouTube influencers. So I don't know if that's for potential collaborations or whether they've done giveaways with these bloggers and these influencers. But I just noticed that was a bit of a trend.
So you would say that they're actually working actively with influencers now on YouTube and
potentially,
and Instagram as well, potentially. Yeah, well, some of these videos, I guess, would be on IGTV, could be influencer related. Good point. All right, any final thoughts before we move on to Boda? We all good?
What about their bio? Shouldn't it be a bit more vertical? Suggest?
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a crime against humanity to have a horizontal one, obviously, but yeah, there does tend to be a trend at the moment on Instagram for people to have much more of a vertical kind of bio. Do you have any examples that you can point us to, just for the reference for people who don't understand what we're talking about in the hospitality sector?
Off the top of my head, no.
So so let me read it out for everybody who's on the audio. What we mean when you're looking at the Instagram bio, you would not necessarily repeat All Bar One twice. You know, you would say All Bar One in the name, obviously, and then in the kind of subtitle, you might say cocktail bar, or high street cocktail bar, or whatever your slug, your caption line is. And then the next line would be all you need. That would be one line. And then the next line would be wine, cocktails, tapas style plates. The next line might be bottomless brunching. And then the next line might be we're the perfect place to meet your friends. And then for each line, you might use an emoji to actually improve that kind of reader experience. It just generally tends to help enhance the kind of mobile experience because of the fact that 85% of people are on their mobiles when they're looking at social media as well.
A really good example of that is in Blame Gloria, a bar in London. I seen theirs the other day and I thought it was really good.
Blame Gloria. Okay, in Covent Garden. So we're just opening that up. They've got 9,000 followers, and yeah, they've got that nice kind of vertical style. So rather than just repeat the Blame Gloria in the title, they've also got it in the subtitle: Blame Gloria, Pike, Covent Garden. Then they've got the emoji Gloria always through the wildest parties. Then they've got the emoji shoe, grab your dancing shoes and an open mind. And then emoji cocktail glass, happy hour, 2-for-1 cocktails. And then pointing down finger, brunch tickets. And that points directly to their link in the bio so that you can click through to get your brunch tickets. So it's nice and interactive, easy to read rather than forcing your eyes to drag all along a very horizontal kind of experience. And then you've got the nice emoji signals to help enhance that user journey as well. All right, so let's crack on and move over to Ms. Boda Bars in Edinburgh. The Swedish bars and restaurant have been community bars par excellence around all of the great parts of Edinburgh. And as soon as you as soon as you move into the website, you immediately get a pop-up saying subscribe to our newsletter. Any comments on that one? So for me, I would always say not enough to subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter. Why? Give me an incentive. It's like when you go into a networking event and somebody says, "Here, take my business card," and you're like, "But why should I take your business?" So give me an incentive. Give me some kind of a offer. It doesn't have to be an offer. Or it could be to keep up to date with the specials for every season and every month. You know what I mean? So don't just go subscribe to our newsletter. It's not really gonna. It's not very charming.
Yeah, I'm on Google Chrome looking at your website, but the pop-up didn't actually come up for me, so I don't know if that's something that they can make sure of.
Okay, good point. Yeah, that's obviously a different experience depending on which browser you're using. Brilliant. Any other thoughts on the website experience?
Well, I'm not really, this is just my own personal thing, reading it, for people on Clubhouse, there's a sort of photo of meatballs and they have writing over the photo, and I find that slightly hard to read. And I know they've got red as their sort of main colour, so it's meant to be like really stand out, but yeah, I can't see it over the gravy, I'm afraid.
Nice one. The gravy's getting in the way. Yep.
Yeah, and I've had to sort of go looking for the social media icons a little bit. So if they just had them at the top of the page on the right hand corner or something like that, I think that would be more user friendly as well.
Yep. And so what, anything else? I'm just thinking, if you're somebody who doesn't know the Boda Bars, who's from out of Edinburgh, which a lot of people are, let's face it, they go to a place called Boda Bars online, and then the first thing that you're talking about is Joseph Pierce's. So from a kind of, as soon as you introduce confusion, people are just going to click away, when it comes to the long online experience. That nobody's got time for trying to work out what's the relationship between Boda Bars and Joseph Pierce's. So maybe from the get-go, just as we look at the first part of the website, you have a list of all the outlets under the Boda Bars umbrella. So that would be right up at the top. So then therefore you would have Joseph Pierce's, the Boda Bars, Sophie's, Aqua. And then at that point, now we've been introduced to all the different brands under the Boda Bars umbrella. Therefore, it would then be easier for you to talk then about Joseph Pierce's or one of the other outlets as we go through the page. But to be hit straight by Joseph Pierce's when we haven't really understood what Joseph Pierce's is in relation to Boda Bars is kind of confusing, I would say. Any other thoughts on that? On the look and feel of the website?
I would also add like a small sentence just to sum up what is Boda Bar. So say, for example, the Scandinavian experience in Edinburgh or something like it. I think that would just give people a real feel of what they are. So just like below the logo at the very top with the armchair and the lamp. And then I've noticed that they don't really make a great use of space. They got like massive gaps between some of the sections on the homepage. And then if you scroll down past the description that says Swedish bars and restaurants in Edinburgh, you see that red part, and they actually have a red title over a red background. I don't know if you can see it.
No.
But it's there.
Where in this section?
Hold on a second. Yeah, so just above the white text, if you try to highlight just above.
Just here?
So up a bit more. There's actually a title there.
What? Oh my goodness. That was impossible to see.
So I think that's probably just a mistake while designing and using the wrong code color, but I think that's something they should fix.
Wow.
I mean, it says book now down below, so people get what that section is all about, but it's not very, I would say, professional.
Yeah.
And then again, if you scroll down, to our venue section, some of them, like Aqua, for example, which I think is like permanently closed. I'm not sure. But if you try and click on it, there is a broken link. It doesn't take you anywhere. So why maybe just remove it so people don't click on it and they don't get that kind of experience of being led to a page of emptiness.
Yeah, I think Anna was saying that there's a couple of their assets that have been sold, so maybe that's one of them. But yeah, you're right. It should be removed from the website because people don't want to be clicking on something and ending up in one of those 401 pages, which takes them nowhere. But I mean, I do like the photographs which show you the kind of environment that the bars are. And I think those photographs in some way go closer to helping people understand what that bar experience is all about. I think it's certainly a lot better than leading with the meatballs. I do understand that being a Swedish bar, you might want to feel like you can lead with the meatballs, but actually people don't necessarily associate Boda bars with meatballs. People associate Boda bars with that kind of getting together type of vibe where people are chilling, and you can see the type of people that are going into those bars, because a lot of owners want to just show you what the environment looks like. Look at the fantastic decor, look at how much we spent on the furnishings and the decorations and everything like that. Whereas in reality, what people want to know is, are these types of people my type of people? So if you're going to be going for the millennials or the older folks, then or the casuals or whatever it is, then it's good to not just have that environment looking fantastic, but then have some, you know, classy photos of the people who would be your target audience in there as well, because that adds massively to the ambiance and the atmosphere. And that's essentially why people want to go there. They're not there just for the food and the glamour or not, and the drinks. It is essentially a place for people to hang out in the physical world. And yeah, as we go into the next section after that, we go into the about section, which has a massive gap in it. And then at the bottom, right down at the bottom, there's the Facebook and Instagram buried right down there. But right above it, we've got some lorem ipsum type of Latin going on there on the website too. So we need a bit of fixing on there. I guess they're in the middle of a lot of transition, so fair enough. These things happen in the middle of all the craziness that's been going on with the lockdown. All right, any last words before we move on to Facebook? Real good? All right, let's do the Facebook of Boda bars. Okay, any first impressions on what's happening with the Boda bars Facebook page?
I'm not sure if saying email is a perfect call to action with the Facebook page. I would maybe go with something like visit website so that you can see the menu.
Good one, like it.
I also noticed that they have one in their ad library, and that's for a newsletter.
So they're putting out an ad to let people sign up to their newsletter?
Yeah.
And is there an incentive on why they should sign up for the newsletter?
I didn't go into it yet, no.
Okay, let's go and check it out then. So we're now heading into the ads library of Boda Bar's Facebook account, and it will normally tell us what ads they've been using on Facebook and Instagram and everything. So we can see that the ad was put up there on February this year, February 24th, not so long ago. It's for the Boda bars. It's got a picture of Joseph Pierce's, which is top of Leith Walk. And it says, missing the Boda bar atmosphere from Joseph Pierce's in Victoria. As we prepare to open up, we want to keep you up to date on our latest and greatest. Subscribe to find out more about our deals, meals, and meatballs. And then there's a sign up to the newsletter. Okay, what do you think about that as a call to action?
I would say it's the right call to action.
Yeah.
I like a wee bit of humour. I like a bit of brand personality. I think that's so important, especially when you're a bar. You have no excuse for your brand personality, because your brand personality should be your customers who are coming in every day. So, you know, it's pretty easy to come up with one. Just think about your sort of regulars. What are they like? Because that's the people who are clearly attracted to your bar.
Nice one. And obviously they're still open. People can go in and get takeaways of things, food as well. So that's a good thing to be able to do. But I wonder if there's many people that know about it. The engagement seems a bit low, on the low side. What's anybody thinking about the content that's been going on during lockdown?
It's very much focused on the products that they've been offering since they started doing takeaway. And I think, as the picture shows, that there's a bit of like user-generated content, so people ordering food and taking a picture of it. And they also seem to put quite a lot of posts about their teams, so the people working at the different bars, which is good because it shows the human side of the business. And going back to that call to action with the newsletter, I feel like it should be, it's good, but maybe it could be a bit stronger. So since they're doing, for example, takeaway or deliveries through some delivery service, maybe they could offer, I don't know, like a free delivery when you sign up for the newsletter for the first time, and you have your code to enter in either an app or the other. Just an idea.
Yeah, the idea is to incentivize it a little bit rather than just saying signing up. Yeah, I mean, it's good to use the humor, the meatballs, and everything, but some kind of incentive. It doesn't have to be a Coca-Cola. It could be like an extra meatball or something like that. If you've handed over your email, if you're a subscriber, then you definitely get one extra meatball or something cheeky and fun that incentivizes them to hand over the email, because obviously once you've got the email, you've got more opportunities to actually market to them. What do you think about the actual pictures of the products that they have, the dining experience?
But they're quite professional, like the one that you're showing right now, or even the other competition that they had. It's quite professional. I like their style and how they present it. They don't really seem to get, even for like a competition where you can win something, there's not seem to be that very high level of engagement. It's like a few likes and shares. So, I mean, it's a shame because they have a good design idea, but they just need to step up on the engagement, I think.
Yeah, more outreach, definitely. Okay, so let's move over to their Instagram account then, unless there's anything else you want to talk about with their Facebook. No, all good. Okay, let's go on to Instagram. Yikes. All right, so I've just clicked through from their Instagram icon on their website and got a 5xx error. So already a whoops moment right there. So now I'm going to go into Instagram itself. What's going on here? Maybe it's my machine that's going crazy. Now I can't get into Instagram even. What the hell is going on there?
Instagram is down.
Ah, well, there you go. So anyway, so I know you guys have already been doing your homework with Boda on Instagram. So what are your thoughts on how they've been doing and what they could be doing better?
I have the mic open, so I'll just go.
Yep, go for it.
They have the same post as Facebook, as you would expect. They have a good amount of highlights, and they're basically all location based, so with all the different locations. And they also have the menu in their highlights. They have a vertical bio, which clearly says what they are. So first line is there's a Swedish flag and then Swedish bar and restaurant. And then they also let people know that they're offering food and drinks through Uber Eats and Deliveroo. And they also have a 20% off for pickups, which is quite inviting.
Very.
The competitions like Win 2-course meal for two seems to have a bit more engagement compared to the Facebook posts. And they have a good mix of videos and just still images. And they do also use Reels. They have currently 6 of them, and ranging from 600 views up to 2,600 views. So again, that shows the popularity of Reels. And they have one Instagram TV video that was launched for Ladies' Day. So I guess that's the 8th of March. Sorry, I can't open the video because Instagram is still down. And so, yeah, Okay, so I don't have any more access to Instagram because I tried to open a page. So
yeah, no worries. Okay, so we're just coming to the end, and now that's been a good hour. We've been chatting about the challenges of hospitality marketing as regards looking at Boda Bar and All Bar One. Any final thoughts on Boda Bar? Because obviously it's been challenging trying to analyze their Instagram when Instagram happens to have crashed at the time we're going live. But any final ideas coming from any of you guys?
I just feel to recommend maybe sort of countdown to the day that will reopen. So maybe starting 10, 12 days before, and just letting people know what are you doing to make sure that guests will be safe in your environment and just have the best experience. So that could be either done through stories, but then those stories can generate extra content. So once you put them all together, they can be a reel with some text saying, "Oh, we've got 2 meters or 3 meters from each table. We have hand sanitizing stations. We got our test and trace systems in place." So something like that, just to make sure people feel safe when visiting the premises. And maybe I'm not particularly sure about the guidelines of the government in terms of dining experiencing, but I've read that it will be limited to 2 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe just design a kind of 2 hours experience with food and drinks for people, just to get out the most of both of them. Maybe it could be a good idea, because if you give the freedom to people to order, they might just order too much, and so by the end of the meal they still have food and drinks left but no time. So maybe just being more in control of that. I'm just trying to think that could be possibly implemented.
Amazing. That's a great idea. I love that. All right. So yeah, Amy, you got a final word yet?
Yeah, I was thinking that we could perhaps do some sort of giveaway so that person or the public or that won this giveaway could get something exclusive for being one of the first to go back into one of their bars. We won sort of a giveaway, and I realised that just doing giveaways just before the reopening of things, so reminded me of what brands. So I think doing a giveaway just in time for the reopening, it would just be ideal.
Amazing. I love those ideas. Great. Okay, so hopefully that's given everybody lots of good ideas on what they could be doing with their bars, restaurants, cafes, etc. as we're coming out of lockdown. So any questions you want to hit us with, always happy to chat. You can contact us on www.supersizemedia.co.uk, or you can hit me up, Finn Wycherley, anywhere on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all the rest of it. That's FINWYCHERLEY. So thank you on behalf of the Supersize Media team, Alberto, Emily, Petra, and Amy. And on that good note, thank you so much. And I'll see you next week, where we're going to be talking about, what did we decide for next week?
Next week, we are going to talk about coffee shops, and we are going to compare Cafe Nero to Artisan Roast, which is our local Edinburgh, and I believe they've expanded to Glasgow coffee shop.
Boom, there we go. So come back and join us next week on Clubhouse or on YouTube Live at 3:30 on Friday afternoon. Okay, speak to you soon. Ciao.